year 2019-20, we are supposed to pay taxes in the assessment year following this year. The assessment year is 2020-21. Okay. So November 30, 2020, you know that this is the final date of paying income taxes during this assessment year for the taxes which has been estimated based on the income during this income year. Okay. So considering the situation, income tax authority decides to extend the period of paying taxes, I mean the deadline. So in this assessment year, which is currently going on, I mean the 2020-21, income tax authority, you probably have come to learn from the newspaper that it has been extended up to 30 days or 1 month period. Okay.
Yes, sir,
So
till December 30.
yeah, so
Okay.
these are kind of some exceptional. So exception are not the rule. So we'll not think about it. We'll talk about this deadline. Okay. What I'm trying to stress is that usually we know that tax is to be paid after the income year during the assessment year. Okay. However, uh, in addition to the tax paid during the assessment year for the income assessed for the income year, uh, tax is also paid. I mean, a portion of tax is also paid during the income year when the income is or the payment is actually made in that time. I mean, a portion of tax, a portion of the tax which will be due in the assessment year, a portion of that tax is to be paid during the income year when you receive that income, or you means here you are an SSC. Okay. So you have got one portion of tax is paid during the assessment year, and uh, another portion of tax is paid during the income year. It may not be in the assessment year. So that portion of tax which is paid during the income year uh, in advance is usually there are some forms of tax, but commonly the tax which is paid during the income year of the income which is earned during the income year, that portion of tax is known as tax deducted at source, and it is different from advance tax. It is different from advance tax in a sense that uh, tax deducted at source is uh, deducted before making payment to the payee. So say my employer is Dhaka University and I am the staff or employee. So when DU pays salary to me every month, they deduct a portion of taxes before crediting the monthly salary to my bank account. So it's not like that I have received the total salary, then I have decided how much tax to be paid, a portion. It is not like that. Say monthly, I will be receiving say 50,000. Okay. So out of this 50,000, average tax rate, say I'm assuming that 5,000. So 5,000 will be deducted at source. Who will deduct this? Employer will deduct this, and 45,000 taka will be credited to my account. So the taxes which has been deducted before making payment to me, that's at source, that is the implication of at source. Okay. So this kind of tax which is deducted when the payment is made is known as tax deducted at source. Okay, so it is supported by income tax ordinance, income tax ordinance of which year? 19. Can I recall income tax ordinance year?
1984.
1984.
1984. Okay. So income tax ordinance 1984, you see the section 48, the particulars about the income tax deducted or tax deducted at source is mentioned specifically. You see, notwithstanding that regular assessment in respect of any income is to be made later in assessment year. What does it mean? It means the regular assessment what we do in the assessment year for the income earned in the respective income year. So this is the regular assessment, and without prejudice to the charge and recovery of tax under this ordinance, after such assessment, the tax on income shall be payable by deduction or collection at source or by way of the advance payment in accordance with the provisions of this chapter. So any sum deducted or collected or paid by way of advance payment in accordance with provisions of this chapter shall, for the purpose of computing the income of an assessee, be deemed to be the income received and be treated as payment of tax in due time by the assessee. So there are two issues you need to understand. That is, tax deducted at source is made on the income which you really have earned. So it's not like that monthly salary will be paid, say, in the month of December, and you employer has not paid the salary, but employer has deducted the tax deducted at source applicable on the salary. It's not like that. The amount really has to be paid. I mean, the amount employer has decided that I will pay this and I will actually pay this. In that case, employer can deduct applicable TDS on that, and employer has to pay the remaining amount to the employee. In our case, I'm giving the example of employer-employee. It can be any kind of, it can be payer, it can be payee. Okay. Then another thing is that you need to recognize that is the amount of TDS and the timing of TDS will be considered or will be adjusted when the actual amount of tax will be paid. So if you say you are paying taxes in assessment, not in assessment year, which tax? The TDS you are paying in the income year. So this amount, this timing of payment will be considered as the due time. So it's not, obviously you see that your tax will become actually due during the assessment year, but without going to the assessment year, you are paying taxes in the income year in which you are earning this. So obviously it is due, and it cannot be overdue. Okay, you are kind of paying the tax in advance. Okay, so the thing is that we will try to follow the contents of the deduction of tax at source from the ICFE text of chapter, from the chapter 14. So it is covered in the section 48, section 49 of the income tax ordinance. So let me give you some example of the income on which TDS is applicable. Okay. So first of all, I already have given example of salary. So if it is salary, TDS will be applicable. So then if I like to give another interesting example, that is, I don't know whether you are fortunate enough that you have won a lottery during your life. Okay. So if any person receives income from lottery, so out of that lottery prize money, 20% TDS will be applicable. So say that you are lucky enough to uh, won the lottery of some institution like Asania Mission Cancer Hospital lottery. Okay, so you probably have heard about it. That so you are lucky enough that you have won the first prize of 25 lakhs. Okay, so out of 25 lakhs, you have to pay TDS of how much percentage? 20%.
20 percentage.
So you see, is it 5 lakhs?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So uh, does it hurt you that 5 lakhs will be taken out?
Obviously, it does, sir.
Yes, sir. 20 লাখ বললেই তো হইতো।
Okay, so it is kind of you may ask that what is the purpose of TDS, that I will SSC will pay taxes during the assessment year, so why you are uh, charging tax in advance? What is the purpose? So the purpose is that government has to maintain the day-to-day expenses. This is one purpose. So if all taxes are collected during the assessment year, government may find it difficult to maintain its expenses. This is one of the general purpose. Another purpose that is kind of tracing out the people who are likely to evade taxes. So you may think of, say, you are a person who has won this lottery, and say Mr. A is also the person who evade taxes and who does not pay taxes or submit his income tax return. Okay, say Mr. A is that person. So when the 5 lakhs will be deducted by which institution? Ahsania Mission Cancer Hospital, who is the which is the institution who has thrown out this lottery, okay, or who has issued this lottery security. Okay, so MCH will collect this 5 lakh, or will take out this 5 lakh and pay you 20 lakh. And in that case, you have no chance. I mean, not you, Mr. A has no chance to evade these 5 lakh taxes. Okay, as it has already been deducted before getting it. Okay, so that is the purpose. Say, for example, a good number, not a good number, I mean the significant number of people earn salaries. Okay, so but if you look at the people who are submitting the income tax return, you will see that the number is not too much relative to the number who are earning salaries. Okay, so in that case, you can recognize that if TDS is applied to the salaries, a good number of people who would not pay taxes in any way, at least some amount of taxes are collected from those people by government in the mean of tax deducted at source. And remember, I have mentioned the term a portion of applicable tax. So there is a misconception. It may be some kind of people like to understand in that way to evade taxes. It should not be a misconception that so some people, a good number of people, try to feel that, or try to believe that, or try to convince themselves that I have paid TDS. That means I have paid the taxes which are applicable on my income. So it's completely wrong. You are paying a portion of tax. You are paying a portion of tax. You have paid, or TDS has been charged, or TDS has been collected, does not mean that you have paid all amount of applicable taxes. Okay, so say tax is 100 taka, but you have paid TDS of 20 taka. In that case, still 80 taka is due. Okay, so believing that 20 taka TDS paid, that means I have paid the tax liability is not true. Okay, so if any person, you will see that this kind of person in your family or in your society or in your kith and kin, that they try to tell you or they try to make you understand that the TDS has been collected, so that's why I have paid the applicable taxes, so I don't need to or I'm not supposed to pay any more taxes. So they are wrong. So I believe that they try to make they try to believe in such way to evade taxes. Not the thing is like that, they don't understand this simple the simple concept. Okay, whatever. So I have given another example of lottery. Then you can take another example that if you pay that you are a payer, and you have engaged someone to your works, say Mr. B, you are a payer. I mean, you are wanting to take a service from Mr. B, and Mr. B is NRV. What is NRV? Non-resident Bangladeshi.
Non-resident Bangladeshi.
Okay, okay. So in that case, if it is found that the payee is a non-resident Bangladeshi, in that case, you have to remember, it is not only non-resident Bangladeshi, it can be any person who is non-resident. Okay. So usually, commonly, the people are non-resident foreigners. Okay. They have no residency in Bangladesh and they are the foreigners, but they are rendering services, and you are one of those people who has taken the service from Mr. B. So say there has been a payment of 1 million BDT. Okay, 1 million BDT. So in that case, as a payer, you are responsible to deduct a portion of tax from this payment you are wanting to make, and you are responsible to transfer this amount what you have deducted to the government. I mean here government, I am trying to mean the income tax authority. Okay, so I mean any payment to the non-resident is under the scope of having where the TDS will be charged. Okay, then actors, actress, any payment to the actors or actress is subject to TDS. Okay,
স্যার আগের এক্সাম্পলটা স্যার বুঝি নাই
I mean you have taken service from a person who is non-resident. You know the person who is non-resident, you know how to determine person is resident or non-resident. We already have learned it, right?
ইয়েস স্যার
Okay, so if it is like that, you are paying some payment for having or for taking some services from a non-resident person. So say the bill is 1 million. So TDS is applicable on the payment to any non-resident person. So out of this 1 million, say 1 million is a just kind of arbitrary number. So out of this 1 million, the TDS percentage will be applied, and the amount of TDS will be transferred to the tax authority by you. You are the payer. Have you got it?
ইয়েস স্যার
Okay. So any payment to the actors or actress is subject to TDS. Okay. So all of these are available in the income tax ordinance. Let me refer the section income 40, section 49. You see the income subject to deduction at source. Okay. So for example, I have given example of actors and actress. Okay. So that is available or that has been mentioned in the subsection 1 or 49 1. So section number is 49. It is loading. Okay. And the subsection is 1K. Okay. And one of the TDS, one example of TDS with which you are very familiar is interest on
Savings certificate.
bank deposits. Yeah, that is also good example. Interest on bank deposits. Okay. So after a certain period or after a regular interval, during the regular interval, bank credits an amount of interest you have earned based on the amount of deposits you are maintaining during the period of time. Okay. So if you look at your bank statement, you will see that when the interest on bank deposit is credited to you, there has been another transaction which is mentioning that the tax or tax deducted at source. Okay. So that tax has been applied on which amount? Interest on bank deposits. Okay. So who is the authority here? Who is charging this tax? I mean, who is collecting this tax? Not
So
charging.
bank.
Bank authority.
Yeah, bank authority. Okay, we'll talk about more about this later. Okay. Then another item with which I think our parents are very much familiar with. That is, our parents have some land, some cultivable land or some residential land, whatever the area it is. So there are some public road, and government is trying to expand this road size and trying to acquire a portion of our parents' land. Okay, this portion of land will now be taken by the government. Okay, are you familiar with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so government pays a hefty amount of compensation to this, usually 3 times, and recently a new bill has been passed that 5 times of the uh, 5 times of the area rental value will be paid to the person of who has given the his land or capital asset. Okay, so that compensation, I mean the compensation is our subject. Compensation for what? Compensation against the acquisition of property. Who has acquired the property?
Government.
The
Government.
government has acquired the property. So that is also subject to tax deducted at source. Okay. Another item with which you must be familiar with if you have investment in share market, that is the cash dividend. Okay, cash dividend, the TDS is applied. Say I have Esquire Pharmaceuticals share, and based on say 20% cash dividend, I have 1,000 number of shares. So 20% of what? 20% of face value, that is right now 10 taka for each share trading in the capital market of our country. So 20% of 10 taka is 2 taka, right? So 2 taka multiplied by number of share I will be receiving, or I am possessing, or I am holding 1,000. So cash dividend is how much? 2,000.
2000.
So So you have calculated that you are expecting to get 2000, but you will see that 2000 taka has not been credited to your account. 2000 taka has not been credited to your account. Rather, a portion has been deducted. It can be 15% or it can be 10%. I'm mentioning which one is for which case. Okay. 15% of 2000 or 10% of 2000 will be deducted by the Scar Pharmaceuticals, and the remaining amount will be credited to your bank account. Say, what is about 15%? 300? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you will see that your bank account has been credited for Scar Pharmaceuticals dividend for the 1700 taka. So 3000 taka has been deducted or has been taken out by the Scar Pharmaceuticals. It's not like that Scar Pharmaceutical is the claimant of this 300 taka. Rather, the income tax authority will receive this. Scar Pharmaceutical will be in the position or will be responsible to remit, to transfer, to hand over this 300 taka to the income tax authority by mean of proper mechanism. Okay. Then another item I like to make you familiar, that means we usually hire a conference hall or convention center for some programs, reception, these things, or convention hall. Okay. So on these things, on this payment, so say you are Mr. A, you want to hire the premise of Mr. B. Premise is here conference hall or convention hall. So say 200,000 taka is the rent. Okay. So you will be responsible, you are Mr. A, you will be responsible to deduct a portion of amount out of this, say 5%, say that amount is 20,000. Sorry, it will be 10,000. Is it? 10% is 20,000. You are liable to say you are liable to take out 5%, and you are Mr. A who is trying to take the conference hall or take the convention hall, and you are responsible to take out this out of the payment you are making and remit this amount to the income tax authority by mean of some challan. Okay. So challan is a kind of document. I will try to show you if I have the technical, if I don't face any technical glitch. I'll mention about it detail, but let me show you if I get any challan copy. Okay. If you visit the NVR website, you will see there is some e-services. One is e-payment. Okay. So if you write down, say I am writing my particulars, my TIN number, and I have written down my TIN number and I have clicked the search button. You see my particulars have been appeared, have been explored, and say I want to pay the tax with return. I'm just giving you an example of how to get the online challan. Okay. Then my applicable section for tax with return is 74. So remember, these things will be mentioned specifically in the challan. One is under which section you are paying taxes and of which assessment you are paying taxes. Say I am selecting the 2021 that is currently going on. Say I will be paying taxes of 12,000 taka, and say I have given my contact number and I have paid. I have clicked the OK. Then if I select this, if I select card, say Visa, okay, but it is transferring to the payment gateway or payment page. But thing is that what I like to emphasize that you are familiar with some kind of document or some kind of bank document you have seen when you are paying the admission fees in your first year. You will in Janata Bank. Can you recall? There are 3 parts.
Yes, sir.
Can you recall some
Yes,
document like this?
Yes, sir.
Long document. There are 3 parts. Okay. So challan is a kind of that kind of document, but here the document is you have to use this. This is available in either Sonali Bank or Bangladesh Bank. This document is available only in Sonali Bank and Bangladesh Bank. So that thing I just like to highlight, that is, if you have to pay taxes or you want to make payment of taxes, you have to collect this challan form. This form is known as challan form. There are some particulars, okay, same particulars in 3 leaves, and you are here, and there are these things, and it is available in either in Sonali Bank or Bangladesh Bank. And what particulars you have to mention here? You are paying taxes for what? Say I have mentioned the tax with a return. So if it is TDS, you have to mention it is the TDS or tax deducted at source, and you have to mention based on which section you are paying and the amount of tax you are paying and from whom you have collected this, you have taken out this TDS, and your signature here, and you have to mention there is a code. There is a code. That code is that code indicates the account to which this amount will be credited. This account, this code, you have to know it either from this bank or from the income tax authority. Okay. So say you just have seen that when I was trying to proceed with this payment, when I was trying to proceed with this payment, you saw that a code has been appeared here. You see the highlighted. Okay, I was mentioning this account code. Say if I select this advanced tax, you see the section is changing. Advanced tax is mentioned in the section 64. Okay, so which section you see that this income tax ordinance. So if you look at the section 64 of the income tax ordinance, you will see the advanced tax particulars has been mentioned there. Okay, and this particulars needs to be mentioned for which assessment year of which amount. Okay, but this account code is particularly applicable for me as an SSC. So if you are under different tax zone, in that case, different tax code will be, different account code will become applicable for you. Okay. So let me mention about the institution who are responsible for deducting this tax at source. Okay, first of all, salary. So right now we are trying to understand who are the persons responsible for deducting tax at source. So from the word salary, you can easily define that there is a employer-employee relationship. So usually the person who will, not usually, obviously the person or the institution who is the employer or which is the employer and paying salary to its employees will deduct this tax at source applicable on salary. Say, in my case, my authority is DU. So though the University of Dhaka is part of government, but the thing is that government is not my employer. My employer is my university. So university accounts will deduct this, specifically university accounts will deduct TDS applicable on my salary. Okay, but if it is like that, say the institution which is paying salary, that institution is the company Bongos. Okay, so the Bongos company is paying salary to its employees. Bongos will be liable to deduct this tax from the salary it is paying to its employees, and later it will be responsible to transfer these taxes to the government or the tax authority account. Okay, now you already have got that point. That is, if I ask you that in case of interest on securities, not interest on bank deposits, remember, if it is interest on bank deposits, it will be shown in income from other sources. But if it is, we have mentioned about the securities very specifically when we learned about it. Okay, so you know very well that when we talked about security, or when we talk about security, obviously there is a issuer. There is an issuer of the securities. Is it?
Yes, sir.
For every security, there is an issuer.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So that issuer institution will be liable to deduct the taxes at source. Okay. Say, if I ask you about the savings certificate in our country, who is the issuer?
Government.
Government.
I know the government, but which institution?
So Bangladesh Bank.
No.
Daghor.
If it is post office savings certificate, in that case, the issuer is post office.
Post office. Yes, sir.
Okay, but if it is the kind of general savings certificate, with which we are familiar with, some kind of family savings certificate.
Bank.
Is the bank issuer of savings certificate? You can purchase the savings certificate from the bank by going to the bank, by paying tax, by paying amount to the bank. But bank is not the issuer, or not Bangladesh Bank itself is issuer of savings certificate. There is an institution, there is an authority in our country who has been given the responsibility to take care of this savings certificate or to take care of these issues. Can anyone? I'm just giving you 1 minute. You can explore by using your resources and you can come up with the answer.
Sir, Internal Resource Division of Ministry of Finance.
Okay, but that is the mother institution. I mean, Internal Resource Division is also the mother institution of
The Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, Now, Minister of Finance is the mother of these divisions, and these divisions are mother of your National Board of Revenue, then the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Okay.
Let me explain.
National Savings Department.
National Savings Department. Is it department?
So it's department.
Yes, sir. Department T.
Department.
Supervised by Internal Resources Division of Ministry of Finance, Government of
Right.
Bangladesh.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Jatiyo Sanchoy Odhidaptar. Have you heard about it?
জি স্যার
জি
নাম
স্যার
শুনছিলাম এটা।
নাম শুনছি
Okay. That is the institution. That is the institution who which issues the saving certificate. And if you want to get the answer who is the issuer, that institution is the issuer. And Bangladesh Bank is deducting, or Bangladesh Bank is not taking out the interest income, or Sonali Bank is not taking out the interest income. Rather, there are some intermediary parties who are crediting the interest amount to the account of saving certificate holder from the account of the institution what you just have mentioned. Okay. Now, if I give you an exceptional example, that is income from house property. I have not mentioned when I was giving example of the income on which the TDS is applicable. So take another example, income from house property. Remember, this house property is commercial. So say,
স্যার হোটেল রেস্টুরেন্ট টাইপের নাকি
okay. Are you familiar with this institution or this house property? Are you familiar with this?
জি স্যার
Okay, you're familiar with this house property. This is also house property. Okay, house property does not mean that it is not always that you have rented out house property only for living. Okay, it may be such kind of that house will be used for some commercial purpose. Okay, so say the university has rented out this house property to some shopkeepers or to some retailers. Okay, so if house property has been rented out for commercial purpose, keep this in your mind. This purpose is very clear. If it is residential, TDS is not applicable. If it is residential, TDS is not applicable. Okay, but if it is for commercial, it has been rented out for what purpose? Commercial purpose. In that case, TDS will be applicable. Let me give you example. Okay, so in some house property, you will see that first 2 floors has been rented out for commercial purpose, and on top of the floors above 2 levels have been rented out for residential. These are residential, these 2 are commercial. Okay, have you seen this kind of property? A portion has been rented for commercial
জি
purpose
স্যার
and a portion has been rented out for
রেসিডেন্সিয়াল
residential purpose. Okay, think of this house property. I apologize for my poor drawing. Okay, so for 2 purposes you have been rented out 2 portions of your property. One is for residential, another one is for commercial. The rule is that the amount of or the portion of the property which has been given or which has been rented out for commercial purpose, TDS will be applicable on that house property. Okay, now say of that house property, say institution S. Let me give you some example that Shopno Super Shop has taken out this level 1, okay, and another bank has taken rent of this level 2. Have you got the example? Okay.
Yes, sir.
In that case, Shopno is liable to pay rent to the
Owner of
house
the
owner,
house.
okay, to the property owner, and bank is also responsible for paying rent to the house owner. So that rent are generally kind of lease rental. You probably have come to know about the lease, okay, lease rent, okay. So say it for this level they pay 10,000. Just I'm taking some arbitrary number. For this they pay 15,000, okay. So out of the payment they make to the house owner, they means they are the banker, they are the bank or the shopno. So out of the payment they make to the house owner, they will be liable to deduct a portion of this payment as TDS. Who are liable to collect this?
So the bank or the
Bank.
shop.
That means the
Tenant.
have you got it?
Yes.
Okay. So tenant will be responsible to deduct this tax out of the rental amount they are paying to the house property owner. Okay. So in another case, say if I just like to give you example that in case of say movie, okay, there are producer, there are director, there are actors, actress, and there are so many people
Artists.
who will be working for the movie. Okay. Now, based on your previous understanding, can anyone tell me who will be responsible for collecting TDS and
The producer.
remitting it? Yeah, the answer will be the producer. Okay. Now, you probably have learned from the news that the retailer or some shops or some commercial sellers who are collecting VAT from the customers for the goods they are selling or for the services they are rendering. They are collecting VAT, but they are not paying the VAT to the government or to the income tax authority. Have you seen this kind of news?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this has become very common. So government or the income tax authority, very specifically income tax authority, if I say government, that is wrong. Okay, I'm just this is a kind of slip of tongue. Okay, it's not government, it's income tax authority. So income tax authority has given the responsibility to charge TDS or to collect the TDS from on the payment they are making. So it is obviously the responsibility of those intermediaries or the payer or the institution or the employer or the producer here to remit this amount to the account of income tax authority. Okay. So sometimes it is observed that they consider the amount of TDS they have collected as their own money, and they try to use that as their own money, and they feel that I will transfer this. You see that the cost of fund is 0%. Which fund?
The collected TDS fund.
The fund which has been accumulated by the mean of TDS. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. Okay. So you see the fund cost of fund is 0%. So tax authority knows very well that you will try to use my money at 0%. Okay. So income tax authority, you cannot make income tax authority fool. Rather, income tax authority has given you some restriction that what you need to do if you are in the position of collecting TDS and you have collected that amount. What you need to do next. First task, you are responsible for collecting tax, collecting the TDS. And what is your second task? A second task is that within a prescribed time limit, you have to make sure that you have credited the amount to the account of income tax authority. Now, your question is when I will have to credit. Okay. Now, understand the rule. If you have collected TDS during the period from July to May, okay. So you know very well that income year starts from July, assessment year also starts from July. And when we are talking about TDS, note that TDS is not charged during the assessment year. TDS is charged when?
During the income year.
TDS is charged during the income year. Have you understood it, or you just have mentioned it?
Yes, sir, I have
Understood
understood
it.
Okay. So if you have collected TDS during this period, you have to make sure that you say, I'm taking out date, example, say October 15. October 15, it is within this time. October 15 is not of October 2015. October 15th is the date. In that case, you have to make sure that you are clearing this amount. I mean, clearing means you are remitting this amount to the account of income tax authority by 2 weeks. That means it cannot be with you which amount, the TDS amount which you have deducted on which date? October 15.
October 15.
And the date is within this time frame. The amount cannot be with you more than 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, you have to remit the amount to the account of income tax authority. Have we got the first rule?
Yes, sir.
স্যার আরেকবার
Okay.
বললে বেটার হয় 2 উইকস এর ব্যাপারটা বুঝিনি
Okay. The date on which you have collected the TDS.
অক্টোবর
If
15
yeah, if the date falls between these 2 months, July to May, how many months are there? How many months are there?
স্যার 11 মান্থস
During these 11 months, you have collected the TDS. In that case, you are liable to transfer, you are liable to remit, you will liable to hand over this amount, what you have collected in the form of TDS within 2 weeks from the collection date. So I just have given example of the collection date of October 15. In that case, how long you can keep this amount with you?
স্যার লেস দ্যান 2 উইকস
Approximately October 29.
ইয়েস
Okay. October 29. Say October 20, you are waiting for October 29. That means you will pay on the last date. Have you got it?
Yes,
Say
Yes, sir.
October 29 has become Saturday. Okay. In that case, DCT or Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may allow you to clear the amount by the next working day. Next working day is
Sunday.
Sunday, if DCT satisfies. Okay. But usually the practice is you have to make sure that the last date of the payment or the amount, you have to make it clear by 2 weeks. Okay. Now,
Sir,
next case. Yeah.
স্যার এই জিনিসটা কাকে
sir,
দেব?
does it mean we cannot pay the amount through online in off days?
If it is online, obviously there is no off day. So when I
Thank
have
you, sir.
mentioned off day, probably I was mentioning about the physical payment.
All right, sir.
Okay, but there are facilities available for online payment. Okay.
Okay, sir.
স্যার
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
স্যার এই 2 উইকসের মধ্যে কাকে পেমেন্ট করতে হবে, মানে ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে কাকে?
You have to
Ordinance code.
transfer this amount what you have collected in the mean of TDS. You have to transfer this amount to the NBR account. Got it?
ইয়েস স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay. Okay. Next, if this date, I mean the date on which you have charged the TDS or you have collected the TDS is within this time frame, June 1 to June 20. June 1 to June 20. It is within the June month. I mean the first 20 days of the June. Okay. In that case, you have 7 days available. Have you seen that it has been reduced from 14 weeks to 7 days now?
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
2 weeks
Yes, sir.
to
2
7
weeks to 7
days.
days.
Okay. So now the rule is same, just you have to make the payment transferred by 7 days from the date of the collection. Okay. Now take another case. What about the date which is between June 21 to June 31 or 30?
30.
30. In that case, you have to make the payment clear on the following day. Have you got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have done a mistake here. It's not June 30. It's June 28. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
if the date on which you are collecting TDS falls within these 2 dates, June 29 or June 30, in that case, you have to make the payment clear on the same date. You have to transfer that amount on the same date. Have you got it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, I mean the same date. Okay. Now you have to transfer this amount to the account of NBR. So this account is maintained where? I have mentioned 2 institutions in
So Bangladesh Bank and
earlier
Sonali Bank.
discussion. Okay, one is Bangladesh Bank, another one is Sonali Bank, and you have to submit a document. I have mentioned the document name. That is known as income tax chalan.
Chalan.
Income tax chalan. Okay. Then if if you transfer the amount, say, what should I say? If you transfer the amount online, in that case, automatically there will be a digital challan or electronic challan will be generated. Okay, so I just have found one challan I used for making payment. Oh no, this is not. Okay, so let me check if I have any tax challan available soft copy. This is some kind of document from the income tax online submission. Okay. So one thing I just like to relate the tax challan is that when you will submit your income tax return, you have to mention the tax deducted at source, which has as an SSC, which has been deducted from your payment already. So you see tax deducted at source, this section. Okay, so you see I have mentioned that from my salary under section 50, TDS of 39,157 was deducted during the particular income year, and my authority was University of Dhaka, and the date of payment is this date. And you see the challan nong? Have you seen the challan
Yes, sir.
nong? So
Yes, sir.
so you can understand that challan is important here because you have to mention the reference, and as an SSC you have to, as an SSC or as an employee, you have to collect the challan or reference number from your employer. So who has made this payment? I have not made this payment. This payment has been made by the employer, but the amount has been deducted from my salary. Okay, so it was paid in Bangladesh Bank. I mentioned that it was in Motijil branch. Okay, so amount of which this amount was deducted. So let me show you an employer certificate on which the employer will mention that how I paid the TDS which was collected or which was deducted from your salary. So you see, it is my income certificate for this income year and assessment year. So you see that with regard, in addition to the income particulars and the deduction particulars, my employer has given me this additional information. Can you see this additional information? What does it mean? You see that my employer has deducted this amount, 39,157 taka at source, okay, from me, and my employer has mentioned that this amount has been collected or has been deducted not at once. It has been collected in several times. Okay, it has been collected at several times and it has been also paid in several times. So you see that some challans, some challan number have been mentioned here. This is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, and you see the big numbers here. So this amount of TDS was paid during this date. Okay, but you may ask that why this amount is so big. This amount in aggregate, the authority has collected from all the staffs working in the university, and they paid the amount with this single challan, and with this challan, with this challan, with this challan. Have we got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if your employer has applied the TDS, not applied, it is his responsibility imposed by the tax authority. Obviously, he will share the challan number and the amount and the date through which he has made the payment to the tax authority. And what your task is to mention the reference of the TDS payment in your income tax return. Okay. Okay, let me go back. We are talking about the manner of payment of tax deducted source. Okay, so if it is like that, uh, bank is, I mean, commercial bank is charging interest on not charging, paying interest on deposits to its depositors. So commercial bank, say if it is the Pubali bank, probably it has more than 400 branches across the country. So each individual branch has a list of depositors, and each branch will calculate that how much interest I will pay to my depositors, or how much interest is due to be paid to the depositors. So there will be information of TDS and the monetary amount of TDS which has been collected by each of these 400 branches. Okay, it is not the case that each individual branch will be responsible to remit the amount to the income tax authority. Rather, all branches TDS amount will be aggregated and will be credited to the income tax authority account through the bank, Bangladesh Bank or Sonali Bank. Okay. Then there are some particulars of regarding the court. I mean, against which court you will make the payment. This court will be mentioned by the income tax authority, that based on this court or against this court you will make the payment. Okay. Now another thing I like to mention, the
Sir,
yeah.
some manner of payment একটু আরেকবার বলবেন, মানে পুবালি ব্যাংকের ওইটা।
Okay. So Puvali Bank has more than 400 branches. So each branch has a number of depositors. So individual branch will not transfer the TDS they have collected from the depositors individually to the NVR, or they will not transfer this amount individually. Rather, what they will do, they will aggregate all of this all of this amount in the name of the head
পুবালি
office,
ব্যাংক।
Puvali Bank head office. So Puvali Bank will transfer this TDS amount to the NVR. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So say your let me give you separate example, that is say you are an actor. Okay. Now a portion of tax or TDS has already been applied on the income you have earned by acting in different drama. Okay. And each of these producer has done this task. Okay. Now when actor will submit his income tax return, he has to show that I already have paid this amount of TDS. So it's not like that you just have mentioned that this amount I already have paid in the form of TDS. You have to support this amount, or you have to support your claim by mean of some certificate. By mean of some certificate, where it will be mentioned that for this income on this date, this amount of TDS under section of this has been deducted and remitted to the income tax authority account on this date, signed by producer 1, for example. Okay, so this thing is known as certificate. Have you got it? So this
So that's the
certificate is
income
known as
certificate.
certificate of TDS.
Certificate of TDS.
Yeah, okay. So you may ask me, what is my certificate of TDS? In my case, this salary statement is income certificate. Besides, it is also serving as the TDS certificate, because my authority has mentioned the TDS particulars in this certificate. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In this actor's case, actor has to collect this TDS certificate from each of the producers, each of this producer from which or through with which they worked. Have you got it? Now,
Yes,
if
sir.
you have the 10 income sources, and out of these 10 income sources, say in 7 income source, you had paid TDS. Okay, now what you have to do? You have
I
to
have to collect 7 different TDS
collect the
certificates.
TDS certificate from you, from the person who was responsible for charging this TDS. Okay, so let me give, if I ask you, say, say I have a brokerage account. Okay, so it is obviously with a depository account holder. Who are the depository account holders? Depository account holders are the security house. You see the securities house across the city, through in which you have to open your BO account so that you will be entitled to make transaction in the capital market. Okay, you know about this account?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so say there has been capital gain in your account. So individual income, individual capital gain from the share market is tax exempted in our country right now. Okay, so far I can recall. I don't know whether it has been changed recently. Okay, say I have a mutual fund. Is there anyone who has holding of mutual fund? Anyone who has invested in mutual fund?
So maybe not.
Okay, are you watching my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So say I have got this document from my security house. You see, it has been mentioned that okay, this is not the TDS certificate. Okay, this kind of tax certificate you have to collect from your security house or the house where you are maintaining your BO account. I'm just giving you an example of the certificate where it will be mentioned that how much I have invested in the capital market, so that I can show evidence that I can avail the income tax credit or income tax. Can you recall the income tax rebate for having investment in the share market? I can reduce my income tax liability. Can you recall? We have learned about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me show you a tax certificate from my mutual fund. Okay, so what has been mentioned? They have mentioned my name, my account number, then the amount of my investment I have made, and how many units I hold. Okay, and you know what is the purpose of this, providing this document? One purpose is to support the claim of what?
TDS.
Investment tax rebate. Okay,
Yes,
can you
sir.
recall the 24D? Can you recall the statement 24D, 24A?
Yes, sir. Investment allowance ওটা না নাকি?
Okay, yeah, it is presented in 24D.
Yes, sir.
So it is not like that you have mentioned that I have invested 50,000 in the capital market or share. In addition to mentioning this in this document, you have to provide evidence that you really have invested 50,000 taka. Okay, so this
Yes, sir.
document is serving this purpose. Which document? The certificate from the mutual fund or the certificate from the BO account, these things. Have you got it? Okay, so you have got the one purpose. Now you see the second purpose. You see the second purpose? Have you seen my highlighted terms? Advance
Yes, sir.
income tax
Advance income
deducted.
tax deducted.
So have you got it? It is not enough that you have mentioned that I have already paid this amount of TDS, and this authority has deducted this amount of TDS from my income. In addition to mentioning this, you have to provide the evidence of that. Okay. Okay. So that evidence is known as TDS certificate. Okay. Now, the obvious question is, what is the percentage of TDS? I mean, rates of TDS. Okay, how it is determined. So if you are regular newspaper reader, during the period of July, August, September, October, November, you are very likely to see some advertisement from the income tax authority, which presents a long chart which indicates the applicable income on which TDS is applicable, what are the percentage, then who will collect this, and what is the form, and how you have to remit it, these things, and under which section of income tax ordinance this TDS is applicable. Okay, so this kind of table is also available in your text. If you see the chapter 14, you will see this kind of long table, okay, which mentions these particulars what I just have mentioned. So on that table, you will see the percentage rates of TDS applicable. Okay, now if you ask me how TDS is charged on the salary, okay, let me give you an example, kind of plain vanilla example. Say your employer estimates that you will be paying, you will be paid approximately 400,000 taka, 400,000 taka salary. Okay. So your employer will assume that you do not have any other income, because you may have income from other sources. That is not the headache of employer to know all the particulars of you. Your employee is just concerned with the amount of payment what he is making or she is making to you. Okay. So say employer has estimated that he will be paying 400,000 taka to you in the name of salary. Got it? Okay. Now you already have learned that the total amount of salary will not be taxable. There are some exemption facilities. There are some components of salary on which tax is not applicable. Have you seen this already?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So based on the rough calculation, say your employer has estimated that based on this amount of income, based on this exemption facilities, approximately you will have to pay 30,000 taka as income tax liability. Just let me take the round plain number so that I will take a rough percentage. Okay. So employer has estimated that the 40,000 taka will be your tax liability approximately. Okay. So you see, employer has calculated 40,000 taka based on what? Based on the some approximation of the exemption which will be applicable for you, and also based on the tax slab. Can you recall the tax slab? For 300,000 taka, 0%.
Yes, sir.
For next 100,000 taka, 5%. Okay. Based on that, he has been able to calculate this 40,000 taka for you. Now you see, if I take the 40,000 taka tax liability approximately and divide this number by 400,000, what will be the percentage here?
So 10%.
Okay. This is approximate amount of tax payment. This is approximate amount of payment which will be made to you in the name of salary by your employer. So this, you see, this 40,000 taka includes several percentages from here. I mean, how you have got this 40,000 by taking out applicable percentages here. The type of percentages you have applied here are several. I mean, not
Yes, sir.
okay. So you have got a 10% here. This is known as average tax rate. This is known as
Average tax rate.
average tax rate. Usually the practice is that employer will deduct average tax rate amount based on average tax rate from the salary payable to you. Now, in say employer in a particular month is giving you 50,000 taka salary. Just take a rough example, 50,000. Now, if average tax rate is 10%, how much TDS he will deduct from your amount?
5,000.
5,000. So you will be entitled to receive remaining how much?
45,000.
45,000. So this 45,000 taka will be remitted to your account. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if I like to show you my salary certificate again, is it available here? Okay. Okay, it will be better if I show you a monthly salary statement so that you can understand what I just have mean to you. Okay. This is my monthly salary statement. You see?
Yes.
Okay. 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 You see this particular advance income tax deduction.
Yes,
So
sir.
on this month, I mean the July 2020, based on my approximate percentage of tax, my employer has deducted 416.67 amount from my salary. So they are giving me the remaining amount. Have you got it? So
Yes.
you may feel that why it is very low amount. I mean 416 or 0.67. Okay. First of all, you need to recognize that this is based on a monthly number. This is based on a monthly number. Second one is that you already have learned from your salary understand our salary chapter that we are supposed to pay taxes only on basic and on the
Festival allowance.
festival allowance, right? Okay, our house rent allowance is tax exempted. As I was in the study leave, that's why no other allowances have been given to me according to the rule of my employer. Okay, so I think you have got it, that what I'm trying to mean by how employer will deduct this and how employer will show this in your salary statement. Okay, now I already have mentioned in previous class regarding the interest on securities. 5% is the applicable rate in any securities if nothing is mentioned. But in case of treasury bill, treasury bond, there is no TDS. Why there is no TDS? Because treasury bill, treasury bond, these are
Tax exempted.
tax exempted securities. Remember, when your employer will calculate this average tax rate, he must exclude the item on which tax is not applicable. Okay, so in my case, for example, he must exclude my house rent allowance because my allowance is not taxable. Okay, so next, the thing is that if the security, yeah.
How will my employer know that I have an investment in treasury bill or treasury bond?
No, the employee salary things has been finished. I just have given a separate example that if you have interest income from treasury bill, treasury bond, this government securities, in that case, what will happen?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I
this
understand.
second example. Okay, third example. Okay. We already have mentioned about the compensation against the acquisition of property. Can you recall?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 2% of the compensation amount. 2% of the compensation of such compensation if the property is situated within the city corporation, Poroshava or cantonment board. I have not mentioned which area. Say the area which has been acquired or the land which has been acquired from you is in the hilly district or in the area where there is no Poroshava but there is Upojila. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In that case, it is 1%. Okay. So let me give you a simple illustration. Say, if your parents has land in Chattogram, a good number of development projects are going on there. Okay. And if your property is adjacent to the Podda multipurpose bridge, okay, so a good amount of land has been acquired by the government, right? A huge amount. Okay. So say you have bought a land by 100,000 10 years ago. It has become now say 100,000 or 1 million, right? 1 million. Okay. Now government has decided that they will pay you how much? 300,000, 3 times more, 3 times. Okay. So always
Sir, 1 million এটা কি মার্কেট প্রাইস নাকি?
yeah, it
নাকি
has
এটা
become not the market price, it has become the average rate of the average price in the area. Okay, it's close to market price. Okay, but there is no chance of manipulation. Government is not fool. Okay, government will try to know the information that in the same area, what about the price of other transaction. So government will collect this and government will try to make average, and they will tell you that your land is worth of 1 million taka. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So out of this, on this 3 million, how much tax you have to pay if your land is within city corporation? 2%. How much it is?
So 60,000.
Only
3 million then.
yeah, it is 3 million.
6
1.5
lakh
lakh।
সম্ভবত।
Sir, 6 lakh.
Okay. Now you may feel that or not, you may feel that, or the persons who has the land here.
So 60,000 হয় 2%.
Sir,
20%
60,000 হয়। 2% না?
2% of
সেটা
the
হলে
3
3 লাখ।
million. 3 million, 60,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is 60. Okay.
So it's 6 lakh. It was 60 before.
It should be 600,000, right?
No,
Now
sir.
it is okay.
60,000.
60,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the person who has been able to get the compensation from the government feels very proud that he has been able to sell his land at 3 times compared to other people who have the same land at the worth of 1 million. Okay, is it not an attractive deal?
So it is, sir.
It is obviously an attractive deal, but most of the cases, the person who originally had the land adjacent to the development project, they don't get this benefit. Why?
So politician.
Yeah, those people are snatched away, or those people take out this property because they have some insider information that this thing is going to happen. Okay, so that is very unfortunate. Okay, whatever. So there is no way to escape that I will not pay these taxes. Why? Because when the district commissioner office, the land acquisition office of the DC office will credit your account for this compensation, okay, you will not get 3 million. You will get this amount to your account. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
So this is the way how TDS works. Then there's a workers participation fund. Can you recall that how much of the gratuity income from gratuity is tax exempted from your salary
Totally,
chapter? Huh?
Full exempted, fully exempted.
totally
Gratuity.
exempted.
Gratuity
Sir,
And-
2.5 crore, sir.
2.5 crore.
Yes, sir.
And-
2.5 crore.
Okay. There was another fund. Can I recall the workers participation fund? Okay. If workers participation fund receives any income, 5% 5% TDS will be applicable. And you're familiar with the international phone call, that why the international phone call is costly other than the call through internet. So one of the reason is that tax is applicable there, and a portion of tax is already based on the TDS, or TDS is applicable there. Okay. So, and then I already have mentioned about the lottery. What is the tax rate? TDS rate?
So 20%.
20%. Okay. Now, let me go back to the cash dividend again. Usually, I have to show you the separate rules. First of all, our total 25,000 taka income from dividend is tax exempted. You already have seen this, right? When
Yes,
you
sir.
are trying to learn the calculation of income tax rebate. Okay. The second thing you need to learn, that is what is the TDS percentage applicable in case of income from dividend. Okay. If you provide the TIN number, can you recall the TIN number?
Yes, sir. Tax identification number.
Okay, okay. If you provide the TIN number to the to your brokerage house, in that case, they will make sure that out of your dividend income, 10% TDS is applied. How much percentage?
So 10%.
10%. However, if you do not have the TIN certificate or TIN number, or you have, but you have not provided this number to the brokerage house or your mutual fund or the CDBL, you have heard about the CDBL, Central Depository Bangladesh Limited, who holds the recording of all the security transaction. Okay, if they do not have your TIN number, why they do not have? Because you have not provided them with this number. Okay, in that case, 15% tax deducted at source will be applicable on your dividend income. That is similar in case of income from interest on bank deposit. If you provide the bank, I mean the bank branch through which you are in which you are maintaining your bank account, if you provide them your with your TIN number, they will charge how much percentage? 10%. Otherwise, they will charge
15%.
15% TDS. Okay. Now, can you recall how many TIN holders currently we have in our country?
40 million, নাকি 40 মিলিয়নের কাছাকাছি
40 million কাছাকাছি. Okay. I probably had mentioned approximately 48 million in our very first class.
জি স্যার 48 মিলিয়নের কথা বলছিলেন।
Okay, okay. So one of the reasons for growing up this number is to avoid this higher TDS. Okay, though the person actually does not pay taxes and he has not taken TIN, but he has the investment in the share market. He receives dividend, but he has observed that if he collects the TIN and provides the TIN number to the bank account, to the CDBL, 15% TDS will be applicable. Sorry, 10% will be applicable. Otherwise, 15% will be applicable. Okay, so you may feel that it is not very, it is not a very significant issue to think of. Okay, think of an investor who has a dividend income of 10 million. Okay, so you know very well, for this person who has dividend income of 10 million, for having a significant investment in the blue chip companies who provide dividend, like the multinational companies are very popular for providing dividend. Okay, so you may understand that how much difference will create for this amount, for this 5%. Okay, so in that case, what he will try to do, he will try to take the TIN number. Okay, so have we got one motivation why the TIN holders grown at a higher rate? It has been grown at a very high rate in last several years. Okay, but from this income year, from this assessment year, 2020-21, it has become mandatory for all TIN holders to submit their income tax return. That's why the advisors means there are some official advisors, there are some unofficial advisors. Okay, so we have family friends, we have some friends who are some kind of unofficial advisor. So when you officially appoint someone to advise you, in that case he is the official advisor. Okay, so they are advising their people that don't go for taking the TIN number or TIN certificate if you don't need it for other reason, because if you already have it or you have taken this, you will be liable to submit the income tax return from this year and forward.
Sir, what happens when I do not submit?
If you do not submit the income tax return, there are consequences. It's not kind of the consequence like you will be prisoned. Rather, if you have the tax liability, there will be interest penalty charged on your due tax amount. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let me finish the recording, then I will try to take your response.